Today I'll be showing you how to make a simple exposed skull makeup effect. Time needed to complete is 1 to 2 hours. My subject for this effect is my friend Dusty Riggers, who was nice enough to sit through this process. I start by applying latex to the areas on the face where I'm going to build up the prosthetic. Any latex will do as long as it's non-colored latex that dries relatively clear. You can purchase such latex at costume shops, Halloween depots, and party stores. For this look, I've used a thicker kitchen paper towel to build a bridge from his forehead to his cheek. This way I can apply toilet paper without the risk of any latex getting in his eyebrows. When latex is removed, any hair under the latex can and will come out, which can be a little painful. Also remember never to put latex too close to the eyes, as the chemicals can seriously injure them. This is another reason why the paper towel bridge was used. I continued to build up coats of latex and toilet paper, making sure to stick down the edges well. I've cut a small, somewhat circular shape out of styrofoam plate that will act as the exposed skull. I attach the plate after I've applied the first full coat of latex toilet paper. I continue building up toilet paper on the area around the plate, making sure to overlap onto the plate a little and on the other areas where I've applied the latex. I usually try to build up 3 or 4 layers of latex and paper, so the effect will stand up better to the constant movements of the face. Latex is flexible, however, it will begin to come off the skin with repeated movements, so be sure to attach your prosthetic well. Once I've built up 3 or 4 layers, I either let air dry, or if I'm getting impatient, I will use a blow dryer on low cool. It is important to use the cool setting because heat can not only injure or burn your actor, but also it will cause the latex to dry in a yellowish, filmy color. Once the latex is dry, I begin the makeup process by using a nice even base coat of neutral flesh tone to the prosthetic as well as all the areas of the face. It is important to have a nice foundation to start working on. Also remember not to go in too heavy-handed with the makeup. Take your time and build up the effect slowly. It may take more time, but you'll get a little more realistic and satisfying result. After the foundation is applied, you can then rip open the area in front of the eye. While I was building up the latex, I left a small area not attached to the face so I could later rip it open. If you're having a hard time tearing the appliance, go ahead and use scissors to make a small cut. But don't cut the whole thing because flesh doesn't tear in a straight line. You're also going to want to fold the prosthetic under itself once ripped to allow more of the eye area to be seen. Now that is complete, we move on to the makeup. For this look, I went really dark with black makeup around the eyes to give them an extremely sunken feel. Since the left eye socket was ripped open, I made that eye much darker than the right. Be sure to use care when applying makeup around the eyes. Makeup could cause damage and be extremely painful if it's accidentally put into the eye. I then began to gradually build up some bruising around the prosthetic to help hide the edges. I use a deep purple color around the edges where the latex meets the skin to try to hide the prosthetic. Although latex is thin, it is very difficult to get a seamless edge. However, it is much easier to use and much cheaper than some of the alternatives. Once my purple border around the prosthetic is in place, I apply a border of green. Make sure to blend slowly and from the inside out. It is better to dab on little areas of makeup at a time than to try to smudge large amounts around. Also, don't make your edges too clean. After all, bruises are never perfectly shaped. It is the small imperfections and little details that make effects makeup look so much more believable. Once your green has been blended, go ahead and apply another border of yellow makeup. This emulates bruising. As bruises get farther away from the center, the coloring lightens from purple to green to yellow. Blend this well into the skin at the edges to get a nice gradual effect. You don't want the color to start abruptly, but rather to make a smooth transition outward. I then apply a nice deep red color to the prosthetic to give the effect of rash or burn. Make sure to leave some fleshy color showing through in some areas, and not to go too heavy with the makeup at first. As I said before, take your time and build up slowly. You can also add a base coat of yellow to the exposed skull and slightly cover with some white, since no bone is pure white. It will give it the yellowish coloring of bone. I also used a little red around the edges to give it a freshly peeled look. Now it's time for some blood gel and a few key spots to add a little more realism. I also did a little detail work by taking some of my purple paint, thinning it slightly with isopropyl alcohol, and using a very fine detailing brush to draw on some veins in a few key places. There you have it, a cheap, simple, exposed skull or road rash look that you can use to scare your friends.